welcome to Starting Up. This week we come to you from the Sun and Sand Beach Resort here in Mumbai as we all prepare to usher in the new year. You can be sure we've got tons of surprises for you here on the show. Here's what's coming your way over the next half hour. On the show, sailing through the tides, it's Aquasail India on What's Your Story. An exclusive with the President of Intel Capital on Starting Up. And finally, fixing up all your domestic repair problems is WeFixIt.com on our elevator pitch. Well, I'm sure all of you have some plan or the other this New Year's Eve, but here's something I've been really wanting to do. Well, attend a yacht party. Think about it. All that jazz music, the drinks, the lights, the food, well, it all sounds rather tempting. Well, we did catch up with a company that provides yacht services, but with a difference. Swani Desai tests the waters for us.
Around the world in your private yacht, a luxury that might seem like a faraway dream, but is being turned into a reality by Shakil Kudroli, a sailing enthusiast who is striving to make leisure sailing accessible to the common man through his startup Aquasail India. A lawyer by occupation, Shakil decided to give it all up 4 years ago and take the plunge when he thought the time was right.
India is really changing. I think people's lifestyles have changed. The economy is booming. People are really exposed to the water. People travel. The internet has made a lot of difference. And therefore maybe it's the right time. I felt it's the right time to start getting people into getting on the water.
Although Shakil started out as a distributor, he soon changed his strategy. He, along with his wife, began investing heavily in sailing boats and yachts, for renting them out and providing education on how to use them and purchase these gorgeous pieces. Fascinated by this grand yacht, I decided to have a quick chat about its working, which is far more simpler than sailing in the olden times. Now, one of the most difficult aspects of a sailing yacht is managing the ropes, which is obviously very easy over here. Pulling these buttons here, pushing them back and pulling the rope. Now, there are 3 aspects that I've actually learned on this boat. So one is actually the digital part, wherein there is the GPS, there is the radar. The second is the mechanical aspect, which is the steering wheel out here and the engines. The yacht also has a parallel engine which can be used in case the sails don't work, but once the sails are on, the motors are switched off. And finally, the third aspect are the ropes out here which are used to control the sails. So in case if you've still not figured out any of this, there's something which will certainly help you, and that's the autopilot. All you have to do is click on this button and the yacht will figure out its own way. Sailing in a leisure cruiser for an afternoon could cost you anywhere between 30,000 to 1 lakh rupees for a group size of 6 to 16 people. You could also own these yachts using their time sharing or fractional ownership programs. Shakil soon expanded his services towards water sports, which is the other arm of Aquasail India. Located in a secluded part of Alibag is the sailing center sprawling across 2 acres, where Aquasail India organizes one-day camps for adventure geeks.
A couple of very important things you have to be aware of as we go out in the water. You use a smaller one. You twist the paddle around in your hand and you put it in the water again. Take it out, twist it around.
A bit of training, a bit of fun, some music and lots of sailing. Kayaking, windsurfing and dingy sailing. Boats of different shapes and sizes, there's something for everyone. This could cost nearly 4,000 rupees per person for a day and 2,500 for a child, a price that most people are willing to pay.
It's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
You know, the experience and just the wind blowing in your face, I think is something, marvelous.
It's been a blast. It's been so much fun. I cannot even tell you.
Retail is just half of Shakil's clientele. 50% of his revenues are today earned from his corporate clientele. A corporate team building activity over a day would start anywhere from 8,000 to 15,000 rupees per employee depending on the number.
It was definitely worth every penny that we paid because it was very unique. I think it was quite tough, so we did enjoy it very much. So dealing with change, dealing with ambiguity, how do you get comfortable in an environment which you have never been before. So I think some of these were very, very powerful and actual real life experiences as compared to what we are used to in conference rooms.
Cost per employee is one way of charging the corporates. They follow a barter system wherein a product or service is bartered for their team bonding activity for employees.
We have barters with media companies, television companies. Also, it could be something that I need. So sunscreen, for example, is something I use a lot, and so I could do a barter with a sunscreen company or with a beverages company.
Sponsorship is yet another way wherein a lump sum amount is paid. A clear model, clear vision and clear projections.
Aquasail India is really about growing boating. It's about getting 100,000 people on the water in the next 3 years. Well, the current revenue is 3 crores, but I think by end of 5 years we are talking about 80 to 100 crores.
A vision that's set to bring in winds of change in the sailing community.
In fact, Aquasail India is looking to build its own marina harbors with wharfs to dock and maintain its boats and yachts. We wish them all the best. Time for us though to slip into a break, but coming up, an exclusive interview with Arvind Sudhani, President of Intel Capital. You've joined us on Starting Up. Now think about it. Social networking these days, it's quite the buzzword, not just with folks like you and me, but investors and entrepreneurs even. Well, this week we caught up with Arvind Sudhani. He's president at Intel Capital, and we chatted with him about just that phenomena. It's over to Abhimanyu Radhakrishna.
Thanks, Tanya. We all know Intel is the company ubiquitous with computing and with microprocessors, but they've also got a very large strategic investing arm called Intel Capital, which has invested over $1 billion all over the world since 1991, and today has a portfolio valued at just above $2 billion. They've been investing in India since 1998, about $250 million upwards is the size of investments so far. But in December 2005, they started the Intel Capital India Technology Fund, where they've deployed 60% of the approximately 250 odd million set aside for that particular set series of investments. So when's the next 40% going to be spent? What all is it going to be spent on? And more about the venture capital business and the Indian entrepreneurship scene in general. We're talking to Arvind Sudhani, who's an EVP at Intel Worldwide, and of course he is the global head of Intel Capital. Arvind, thanks so much for joining us on Starting Up. Before we get into talking about Intel Capital, a very technical question. Did you see the movie Social Network, and what were your thoughts on it?
No, I have not seen the movie as yet, so I'm hoping to catch the movie once it starts showing on the aeroplanes, which is where which is where I watch all my movies.
Great. So you'll catch it on a flight. But the reason I asked you that is that a lot of young people have seen it over here, and it's, you know, for the first time made terms like venture capitalist and, you know, startup and Web 2.0 sort of a common term beyond just the community that watches this show. Do you think that's necessarily a good thing, or, you know, do you see the danger that there could be another sort of Web 2.0 bubble where just like 1999 all over again?
I think it's probably very positive. Entrepreneurship is very powerful for any economy, and particularly in our industry, in technology. Now, with respect to Web 2.0, I think that social networks are becoming a huge phenomena. Social networks, particularly Facebook, today, if the members of Facebook were a country, I think it would rank either second or third in the world.
The tricky bit, of course, is that there seems to be no space for a number 2 or a number 3 in this space. You know, you have one Facebook, and that company owns the platform, everybody's there. But even a MySpace or an Orkut or a Friendster, they seem nowhere on the horizon. Is that a bit of a, you know, a dicey situation then?
Typically, when platforms get created, new platforms tend to get created, you do get a concentration in 1 or 2 platforms. And historically, in technology, we have only seen no more than 2, no more than 3 platforms succeed. My view, viewed from 100,000 feet, is that social networks will and are becoming distribution channels. You know, what I want to buy, for example, is very similar to what my friends are buying. And if I get a recommendation from a friend that buy your 60-inch flat panel, I just bought it, I bought this model and I bought it from here, you know, that's already a huge positive for me to go, you know, repeat that.
Right. Is this a space that Intel Capital, in particular in India, would be looking at actively?
Yeah, we're very interested in social networks all over the world. And although India has not particularly caught on to the social networks as much as other parts of the world have. Going back to what you had said earlier about our focus in technology, our focus in technology is very broad-based. We invest from smartphones all the way to clean tech, green tech, and a variety of different areas in technology in between. That includes consumer internet, that includes enterprise computing. The areas that we are very focused on are all the areas that can be driven by consumption growth in this country. India is a country where 70% of the GDP is consumption. We're also very interested in increasing adoption. Unfortunately, the usage of technology with respect to notebooks, netbooks, laptops, etc. in this country is still very low relative to other parts of the world.
Do you think that could change going forward once you know, the 3G licenses have all been given? Some companies have launched their services, but as it gets more ubiquitous, do you see more people taking up, you know, netbooks and other already, you know, pre-wired devices?
Yeah, we believe so. The auction of 3G and 4G is a very positive step. We were very active with the government in helping them get ready and get the auction done. If you look back at the history of cellular adoption in this country, that we find parallels in the adoption of broadband wireless in this country. If you'll go back and look, and what my impression is that India was slow in the beginning in the cellular take-up, and then later on it just exploded on the upside.
Right.
And I
you think the same will happen for broadband?
I'm hoping that with the amount of money operators and network operators have shelled out to buy the spectrum, that they obviously have to get a return on investment. So we'll see. I am pretty confident that the profit motive will cause a deployment of networks very rapidly in this country.
About 60% of your fund has been used up, the one that was started in 2005, specifically looking at technology in India. Do you have a timeline or a target to spend the remaining 40%?
Well, we have a very large team here in India. We have one of the largest team of 10 people who invest in India, which is a team size similar to what we have in in China. And my mandate to my team here is invest as rapidly as possible.
One final question to sign up. A quick word of advice to viewers of this show, many of whom are looking to start up, or if they've just about started up looking to raise money. What would you advise them?
My number one advice is don't give up. I think entrepreneurs tend to give up before they even get started. If you have a dream, if you have a product in mind, if you have a service, keep at it and don't give up and keep trying.
Arvind, thanks so much for joining us.
Arvind, thank you very much. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's Arvind Sodhani, the global head of Intel Capital, on Starting Up, telling all you entrepreneurs out there, don't give up, and keep watching Starting Up as well, and learn how to get that investment from people like Intel Capital and others to grow your business and hopefully take it one day to where Mark Zuckerberg and company have reached. Back to you, Tanya.
Thanks for that, Abhimanyu. We're sure our viewers quite enjoyed that chat. Well, time for us then to move on to our section on the show that we call Dr. Startup. Remember, this is where we take all your queries and try and answer them for you. Well, this week, writing into us is Ivy Manohara, who is looking at starting up a website on movies. Now, Ivy says he would be using posters of films and even snapshots of certain movies. What he wants to know is whether or not he will then run into a copyright issue. Well, Ivy, we've got just the person to answer that query for you. Listen in.
Dr. Prabhuda Ganguly, a leading international expert on intellectual property rights, has been a consultant to the World Intellectual Property Organization, a body of the United Nations.
The reproduction in newspaper.
Over 20 years of experience in this space, Ganguly has also written various books, including Gearing Up for Patents, The Indian Scenario, and Intellectual Property Rights, Unleashing the Knowledge Economy. We asked him Ivy Manohara's question, and here is the answer.
Hi Ivy, I just got your question, and I think it's a very relevant question in the present context. As you understand, that copyright is a right given to the creator of a work, so that if anybody else wants to reproduce that work, we'll have to take permission from the copyright holder. It's extremely relevant. In such a case, what we need to do is the following. Since you're creating a website, you will be putting in there information from different sources. If you decide to reproduce clips, if you reproduce snapshots from films or videos, or let's say for example from YouTube or from any other source, I would suggest that you approach the owners of the copyright to those particular work, take permission from them, and then put it up. However, in the copyright law, there are certain exceptions, which says that following acts may not be considered as infringement. For example, if you put a little clip and then you write a critique on that particular clip, if you write a critique on that clip, or you're writing a review on that particular clip, then your act may not be considered to be an infringement. To qualify under those conditions, as I said, which are not considered to be infringement, there are lots of ifs and buts, there are lots of conditionalities, and therefore it's always good to take a professional advice specific to the matter that you're dealing with, so that you stay clear from any issues of copyright infringement.
Well, Ivy, we do hope that answered your question. Good time to remind all of you then that we have an in-house Dell expert who will take all your IT-related queries on the show. Go on, write into us then on startingup@etnow.tv. All right, we'll take a breather here on the show, but a lot more coming up. Fixing up all your domestic repair problems, a Delhi-based startup, we fix it on our elevator pitch. You've joined us on Starting Up. Now, whether it was a minor plumbing issue at home or a major electrical breakdown, don't you just wish solutions to all of that could be found under one roof? Well, a Delhi-based startup believes it has a solution. It's We Fix It on our elevator pitch.
A non-working flush, a water-seeping ceiling, a backflowing sewer, or an appliance breakdown. As a next step, you call an electrician or a plumber, and sure enough, he'll be late or ill-equipped. Even after finding a repair technician, if you are going through the pain of negotiating work, quality, cost, or time, We Fix It can fix it for you. Customers can simply call our call center and request a service. According to the demand and availability, technicians are notified through an SMS for timely service. Our services include repair and maintenance of consumer durables, civil repair, and wood, glass and metal fabrication work. Our services cost anywhere between 100 rupees to 1 lakh rupees as per the type of work. Monetizing on per call repair service fee, we have received a total of 500 calls. We expect to clock a revenue of around 50 lakhs this financial year and around 100 crores by FY 12-13. For expansion across India, we would want to make a pitch of rupees 45 crore for an equity dilution of 30%. We would be utilizing these funds for hiring more technicians, marketing the brand and scaling operations. So whether you are facing any minor electrical repair or furnishing issues, you know we can fix it. We fix it.
Well, let's see what our investor made of that pitch.
Chairman of Cyber Media Group, Pradeep Gupta's investment interests lie in technology-oriented business. He has an experience of over 27 years in IT industry. Let's see what he has to say.
As far as We Fix It is concerned, I see two great things, two negative things. The two great things are that this is a space which definitely requires a solution. This is a pain point with consumers. The second great thing about this particular pitch is that all of this is required under one roof. That I can just call up one person for appliances, for plumbing, for electrician work, for different kind of problems that I would have. So those are the great things about this particular pitch. The two negative things that I would like to talk about is that the first, the entrepreneur has not really said that how he is going to tackle the problems of repairmen coming in late or coming in ill-equipped or not having transparency of rates. So that's the thing that has not been addressed. And the second thing which is there is that the valuation does not seem to be in sync with what the current reality of the company is. In terms of my investment decision, I would invest in this particular space, but I would not invest at this value and not until and unless I know what the process is going to be followed.
Well, there you go. That's what our investor made of that pitch. But we'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you thought. Write into us on starting up at etnow.tv. If emailing isn't your thing, well, just send us an SMS or find us on Facebook. We're out of here, but before we go, as we say every week, remember, there's never a better time than now to go out there and start up. Thanks for watching and have a great New Year.